Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the show Van Helsing. So last weekend I was just home with a really bad cold and I did not leave the house, so I was looking for a new show to watch on Netflix, and I'm usually pretty into like sci-fi type shows, so I was just kind of on Netflix like scrolling through the shows and I came across this show called Van Helsing. So I thought it sounded pretty interesting, so I decided to check it out, and I thought I would let you guys know what I thought about the show. So I've never done a review of a show before, so hopefully it won't be totally awful, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to give you guys some good information about the show, and that way you guys can decide if it's the show for you, because it kind of sucks to put a bunch of time into watching a show and then you end up not liking it. So I'll just kind of let you guys know what I thought about it. So I'm going to start by telling you guys a little bit about the show. I'll try not to really include any spoilers. I'm just going to talk about kind of some things that you find out in the first episode anyways. I'm not going to like spoil anything else besides that. So basically the show takes place 3 years in the future, and it's like a post-apocalyptic world. So apparently back in 2016 there was a super volcano that happened, so it kind of put the world into darkness. The premise of the show is that there were always kind of like vampires around, but now that the sun is gone, the vampires are able to go out and do their thing because basically the world is in darkness, so they kind of start biting people and infecting them, and now there's basically a bunch of vampires wandering around. So the main characters in the show are a group of people that are like hiding out in a hospital. So there's like a marine guy and like some other people that he's hanging out with. So at first it just kind of shows like the struggles that they deal with to kind of like have to fend off all these vampires and stuff like that. And then the main character's name is Vanessa. So that's where the Van Helsing comes in. So her name is Vanessa Helsing. So we find out that like once this super volcano happened back in 2016, Vanessa was bit by one of the vampires. But when they were about to do an autopsy on her, they did a blood sample on her and realized that she wasn't actually dead, but it seemed like she was dead, so they just kind of like kept her there. So she's just kind of like chilling in the hospital, but she's like dead or undead, we're not too sure what's going on with her. But basically in this episode she ends up coming back to life, I guess. But then we find out that if she does bite a vampire, or if a vampire bites her, she turns them back into a human. So it's just a really cool twist on like the usual zombie show or movie where if someone gets bit by a zombie, they're just automatically a zombie and then there's no turning back. When I was trying to explain the show to my boyfriend, I kept accidentally saying zombie instead of vampire because this really reminds me of like a typical like zombie show or movie, so like The Walking Dead. But what's really cool about the show is that if someone's a zombie, they can be turned back into a human by Vanessa. So it's not like The Walking Dead or something like that where if someone gets turned into a zombie, they're like pretty much screwed. That's what I really like about this show. In reviews I was reading online, some people were saying that they didn't like that people were being turned into zombies, but like they can be turned back into humans. So it's not like it's the end of the world for them, like they can come back. So I think that's really cool. And then in the show, Vanessa's main goal is to find her daughter, because once she was bitten by that vampire, she woke up 3 years later and she doesn't know where her daughter is. So it kind of takes you on the journey of her trying to find her daughter, and then other people in the show have different goals. I'm not going to tell you guys anymore, but it was just so good. They just really make you fall in love with these characters, like seriously. Like the one character has a hearing impairment, so he talks through sign language, and there's one character that can understand sign language. They mostly just communicate with each other, and it's just really cool how they make you like love this character even though it's difficult for him to communicate. So it's just really cool how this actor was able to portray this character with that disability, so I thought that was really cool. So I don't want to give away too much more information than that because I don't want to ruin the show for you guys, but overall I thought this show was really well done. Usually when I go to watch a show on Netflix, I kind of check the ratings to see what they are. So then afterwards I looked back and I noticed that this show only had 2 out of 5 stars, and I was like, what? How is that possible? Like, this show is so good. Like, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Like, I literally just sat at home last weekend and watched this. Like, that is all I did. And I find sometimes with shows it's hard for me to get into them, but this one I was just like, I just found it so captivating. Like, it was just so exciting and there was always something going on. In comparing it to The Walking Dead, I watched like the first couple seasons and I just found like it was kind of like the same thing over and over again. No offense to anyone who watches The Walking Dead. Like, if that is your thing, that is totally awesome. I just found that it wasn't for me. So yeah, I could just not stop watching this show. Like, I just thought it was so good. There's only 1 season right now. Originally it came out on the Syfy network and it's also on Netflix Canada. I'm not sure if it's on the American Netflix. And apparently season 2 is coming out this year, so I cannot wait for that. I really want to find out what happens next. It kind of ended on a cliffhanger, so I just really need to find out what happens. So yeah, overall, I would say if you guys are into like sci-fi, like zombie and vampire shows and movies, you should definitely check this show out. I thought it was just amazing. And these opinions are totally my own, like I'm not being paid to say this or anything like that. I just really enjoyed the show. If you've watched the show, let me know what your thoughts were in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys. And yeah, I hope that this review was helpful. Anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video.